Hello and welcome to Inside OUSD. I'm John Sasaki. Oakland's young people are well known to be passionate speakers, advocates, and poets. Many start in our annual Martin Luther King Jr. Oratorical Fest, and a select few become Oakland's Youth Poet Laureate. This year, the new Youth Poet Laureate is Ella Gordon, who joins us now a senior at Oakland Technical High School. Welcome to the show, Ella.
Thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate you being here. Please, let's start off with a little bit about you. You are from Oakland. You grew up here. You went to our schools. Tell us about your experiences here.
Yeah, I grew up in the Bay Area, especially in Oakland, and I went to Chabot Elementary. And then I moved away for a little bit of middle school and came back for Zoom school at Claremont. And now I'm at Oakland Technical High School.
You are a senior now at Oakland Tech. You are the Oakland Youth Poet Laureate. And tell us about what else goes on in your life there at Tech, a little bit about what Ella does kind of in general in her life at Tech.
Well, I run a club. I run the Oakland Tech Dead Poets Society, which is a play on the movie, which we host every year to show. We do a lot of programs. I hosted a winter book drive, which donated almost 800 books to homes around the Bay Area that didn't have books during the holiday season. And then we've also done a poetry drive, which collected poems from people at Oakland Technical High School and around youth in the Bay Area that allowed us to send them through my passion project, Poetry Pen Pals, to nursing homes around the Bay.
You write poetry for people in nursing homes.
Yeah, it's kind of to connect generations through poetry and show generational stories through poetry.
Why is poetry so important to you? I mean, how did you get involved in this, and what was the connection there for you?
Well, poetry for me has always been an expression beyond words. It's been my voice, and it's allowed my voice to carry so that I can dive into political issues that I'm interested in and connect with my community and communities across the nation that have a similar experience to me and can relate to these fundamental issues that we see in society. Especially for me, a lot of my poetry is focused around women's issues, and that's going to be the poetry that I share for you today.
Right on cue. Please, if you would, share one of your poems.
Sure. My first poetry for you is called Piggy Bank. For every dollar that a man makes, a woman makes 82 cents. But to me, this makes no sense. And I know that it's a man's world, and I know that he will always be king of the hill. So do I climb the mountain to success, though I'm scared to be pushed off? You see, I'm not afraid of heights, but I'm afraid of falling from them, and I don't like skydiving or cliff jumping or bungee cording, and I'm frightened that the parachute I've made from Elmer's glue and scraps of my own self-esteem isn't strong enough to hold me on the way down, so I cling to the clouds, hoping they'll catch me in their silver lining, but I've made 82 cents when he has made $1, and I don't have enough money for the silver, so I turn my opinions into a fountain. I take my 2 cents, close my eyes, make a wish, hope they sink because I've been told my dreams are shallow. I know caution is a boomerang, still I throw it to the wind. I know that if I had a penny for every remark I get about my body, there wouldn't be a wage gap. I wouldn't have 82 cents. I would have thousands of dollars. But there's no time to complain because time is money, time is money, time is money, but not as much money as him.
Wow. Powerful.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. And tell us a little bit about what you did along the way to lead you to the point where you would actually enter to compete to be the Youth Poet Laureate here in Oakland.
Yeah, poetry for me, it was sort of a personal expression. It was something that I didn't have a platform to share before the Youth Poet Laureate program. I got introduced to it through my volunteering at the Teen Advisory Board at the Rockridge branch of the Oakland Public Library, and I dove into this experience, and I've found like community through the Oakland Public Library that's completely unmatched to me.
Yeah. And so you knew about it, and you're like, okay, I got to do it. And so what was the process in applying? And by the way, so the Youth Poet Laureate program is sponsored by the Oakland Public Library. You got a $5,000 scholarship from the Friends of the Oakland Public Library. So this is a big deal. I mean, and you're representing the city in doing this. So what was the process then to apply, and how was it going through that process?
Well, the easy part is the poetry because that just comes to me. And then what went through was a round of judging online. So I submitted 3 poems for them to be judged blind by judges that are randomly selected. And then you get into a pool of finalists. And the nice thing about this program is that there isn't a set number of finalists that they can have each year. It's kind of depending on who they think deserves a spot in the finalists. So last year it was 7, this year it's like 9. Like it fluctuates. And then you go into an in-person round, which is an interview, reading your poetry, and then a video for your poem, which you can stream all of the finalists' poetry on the Oakland Public Library website.
Very good. And so when you found out, I mean, obviously all the finalists were very worthy poets. I think there was one who's actually in college over at Cal State East Bay, and there's some from across Oakland. There might even be one from Berkeley. All very worthy poets. What did it mean to you to be chosen to be the Youth Poet Laureate?
Well, it kind of allowed me to amplify the voice of the youth. I was really excited to be able to express not only the issues that I'm interested in, but kind of give a voice to the youth that we don't have usually, and give it to us through poetry. A lot of my friends that I've made, I was in the Youth Poet Laureate program last year as well, and the friends that I've made in the program, we've all come together and we've created this community that allows us to speak out and allows us to project what we feel through words and imbuing depth into these words that can spread across the area and then across the nation.
Fantastic. Were you surprised?
I was very surprised. I was very, very surprised. There was a mess up where I was announced as the runner-up, and my mentor was like, "No!" And I was like, "What? What's going on?" And I was totally like in shock. And there's a picture of me that I'm sure is on the Oakland Public Library website of me going like this. I'm completely in shock, and it was really, really fun.
Yeah. And so what's your responsibility then over the course of the next year?
Well, it's a responsibility of authenticity. It's a responsibility of being able to stand up for what I see happening in my community and then also share it through my words. What I'm going to be doing is reading a lot of events and going to a lot of readings. I'll be hosting a lot of different activities and things that I feel passionate about, as well as bringing in the community of poetry and showing what they feel passionate about as too, because that's what poetry is. It's sharing ideas and sharing things that are passions to people, and not just like, it can be frivolous topics, but I think what Oakland has really made poetry about is sharing fundamental problems that we see in our society, and that's what I really love about this program.
And you're going to be speaking at all kinds of different events. I mean, you talked about actually going and speaking to nursing homes, but I would think that it's going to kind of run the gamut.
Yeah.
And how does that feel to know that you have that responsibility? Because that's a big responsibility to be the face of Oakland for this.
Well, as long as I feel like I am conveying myself and the community through my poetry, there isn't too much pressure on it. I love writing poetry, and I love writing poetry for specific events and being able to convey valid issues that I see through my poetry.
What does this say about the education you've gotten here in OUSD, the education you're getting at Oakland Tech, the education you got at Chabot, and your time at Claremont, and just about growing up here in Oakland and how it shaped you as a thinker, as an advocate, as a poet?
I mean, I think that the community here has really fostered creativity. It's so amazing to see. I mean, my little brother just graduated Chabot, and seeing how creativity is fostered at all age groups with the oratorical or with programs in middle school, and especially at Oakland Technical High School through Paideia program, seeing how you can find your path and find what you're interested in and be able to pursue that is something that's really special about OUSD.
You mentioned the Martin Luther King Oratorical Fest. You believe you participated maybe in a group when you were a kid, but that wasn't something that you did a lot of back then. So this came to you in just kind of a different way. Yeah,
I was really inspired in middle school by poetry. It became like a click that this was how I wanted to express myself. And it went from writing like plays and musicals and stories to seeing that I could imbue depth in single words through poetry as opposed to big paragraphs.
Very good. All right. Lastly, as we wrap up, do you want to do another one of your poems?
I would love to. This is the poem that was used for the last judging round and that brought me to win the Youth Poet Laureate. It's called American Progress, and it reflects the issue of abortion laws, particularly in the Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization case. And the article from American Progress states, on June 24th, 2022, in Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization, the U.S. Supreme Court overturned 50 years of precedent overruling Roe v. Wade. And yet, when I try to swallow this American progress, it's made bitter with regression, and I've never tasted irony served so dry, my rights washed down by God's plan, having to claw their way back up my throat just to take a breath. We are fish drowning in our own water. We are birds with clipped wings being told to fly. We are teenage girls begging for the rights that our mothers had, bargaining for our own bodies, but they are determined to steer our sovereignty. They have hijacked our rights. I saw it with my own eyes. They took us by our own volition, pointed us in the opposite direction, and then I watched them nosedive. I watched as they burned up 50 years of our bodily autonomy and used the ash to bury us alive. Still, I've been told, thank God we live in California. But you seem to mispronounce my human rights as luck, because I have sisters down in Alabama, Arkansas, and Idaho, ones that I don't know by blood. Sisters of the female experience in Mississippi, Kentucky, and Missouri, thousands more in South Dakota and Tennessee, and tens of thousands just in Louisiana and Texas, and I can hear their cries from here. With my sisters out in Oakland, we are echoing their chant, swinging our voices like axes, chipping away at your audacity like wood. We are using this insolence as fuel, prodding the patriarchy like a campfire and watching it go up in flames. You can try to burn up 50 years of our bodily autonomy, but we are ready to fight fire with fire. Beware, because there is no kindling like justice, no fire like passion. You can strip us of our rights, pull us apart until all that's left is our persistence. You can take our skeletons so we can't stand up on our own, but I will always have this bone to pick with you. On June 24th, 2022, in Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization, the U.S. Supreme Court overturned 50 years of precedent, overruling Roe v. Wade. That night, my sisters and I went to sleep with shackles on our uterus and chains around our wombs. And that night, the U.S. Supreme Court called it progress.
Not to date us on this broadcast, but that was 2 years ago yesterday.
Yes.
What does that mean to you?
It's honestly baffling that it's something that is still being worried about and is still being a constant fear for reproductive rights everywhere.
Ella, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your advocacy. We appreciate you, and congratulations on being the 2024 Oakland Youth Poet Laureate.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us. I'm John Sasaki. We will see you next time for another episode of Inside OUSD.